viewers, how we doing? Welcome to something. Drautalbahn. That's it, Drautalbahn. Hello Justin Sim TV, Northern Illinois Train Spotting, and Michael Newberry. And NJT as well, who's also feeling better this week. That's good to hear, mate. Very good to hear. I would love to tell you I'm fully prepared for today's stream, but... Oh, Lexic Dark's here as well, who's going to laugh at my German pronunciation of everything. Excellent. Welcome. I'm in an OBB 1016. I think last time I drove this, it didn't go so well, so yeah, let's see what happens. I'm just trying to set up my cheat sheet, sorry. I decided to have breakfast instead of preparing. Dumb, huh? Well, there it is, the OBT 1016. This is, where are we? Villach. I suppose we should open the doors, shouldn't we? Let's have a quick look around. So it's a pretty big yard here at Villach. The route itself, 80 k's, I think. So we're in the middle. And it goes from where? Klagenfurt, sounds like a sausage, and Spittal Millstättersee. Okay. We are in Austria today, yes. I'm not, though, but the game is. And yes, it's getting warmer down here. It's going to be over 30 Celsius today. Near enough to 100 in the old money. Some of you still use that. Now, while this thing is still loading up people, we should set it up, but I haven't. There is also, if there's one here, I'm not sure. There's another passenger train that comes with this route, but it's not a drivable one. No, it doesn't look like there's one here. We'll see it at some point during the game, I'm sure. And it's pity it's not drivable because it was the feature train on the route art. RSSLO. That's false advertising. But that's life. So, welcome along. We're going to enjoy a bit of a sunny moment in Austria. And should Austria get boring, we'll do something else. That's okay. So, next week, hello Andreas, who says, actually this loco is a Hungarian loco. RSLO picked the wrong model. Uh-oh. Excellent. Oh well, I suppose we should do some setting up in here, shouldn't we? Do reverse the thingy. That looks promising. And headlight thingy. Headlight should be on now. Instrument lights. No, desk light? No, I don't think so. What are our brakes doing at the moment? Does one have a brake key? I can never remember. But let's look at the top as Andreas suggests. I'm guessing you mean that. Cool bananas. We're supposed to leave. Got a horn. Come on. Brakes off properly? Will it move? Will it move? Now, I haven't tried to set up PZB or CIFA or anything else, so... What are you doing? Are you released? No, you are not released. You are now. Northern Illinois Train Spotting. Why would I keep the independent brake applied and the train brake released? It's kind of funny that it's not the right one, but, you know, that's okay. What do we get from passenger carriages? One person. Hi, how you doing? Heading off to wherever we're going. Velden am Wörthersee. We'll go for a cruise. Apparently they don't have round instruments anymore, says Andreas. It's good to know. It's always handy to have a local. And Lexic Dark, is it a Euro Sprinter? Looks like a city shuttle to me. There it goes. There's no lights on in the carriages, is there? Oh well. Something I haven't clicked somewhere. Just had a momentary panic that I was going too fast, and then I looked and went, no, I'm not. It's alright. At some point the loco will figure out I'm powering again, and it will speed up. No, it's stopping me, isn't it? It is stopping me. Alright, we'll power off. That would make me think that I didn't do a C4 or something along those lines, but I didn't think I had it turned on, so there you go. Hopefully, the brakes are definitely applied. Oh, you were insisting on doing down there. Alright. Ah, I know what happened. The rail driver lever is backwards compared to the brakes in the cab. So instead of having a full release, I had a full application. There we go. Just Sim TV says the train looks good and the sound is awesome. I'm not sure, NJTE. I do occasionally wonder what Nick actually thinks. I know he doesn't follow my suggestions, and that he'll probably lose his YouTube channel. Because you've got to follow the golden rule on YouTube. If you wouldn't say it to your mum, don't say it. Andreas says the route is quite okay. A better one from RSSLO. And when you know the region, you look different at the content. I imagine you would. You don't honk when accelerating in Austria. Austrians are so quiet. It's a bit like Austrian level crossings. Says he, going too fast again. But that's okay, in a moment I won't be. You need? What? That never happens. There's plenty of detail in the route. You wonder why I'm not concentrating too much in the cab. We've seen the 1016 before. So it's more about the route. Ooh, that's steep roads for buses. Andreas, what do you think of the route art having a different train that you can't actually drive? It's only here in AI. Makes me a little bit unhappy. Lexic Dark says Siemens motors. Indeed, they are. They're three-phase induction motors. And they play scales. And the OBB assigned the protected name of Taurus to the Class 1016. It's a reference to last week. Train. They have the weirdest freight trains in the Austro-Germanic areas. Yes, NJT, I know they lost to Argentina. I was watching. It's not that unusual for the Socceroos, mate. I'm actually quite impressed they got as far as they did. Soccer is becoming an accepted sport in Australia, or I should call it football. But it's not well financed. Not to the extent that a lot of other countries put money into it. It is a fairly nice looking route. Andreas can tell us whether it's realistic or not. But it's got plenty of detail. Suppose we should go with our train, shouldn't we? Hello, British Ace. Joe, how are you? We're cruising along in a 1016 Taurus on Drautalbahn. And I'm going too fast again, because I'm clearly naughty. Oh, and we've got a slower zone coming up as well. do. Its electric brakes are very effective. And there's a level crossing that will upset nits by not honking for it. It is football, the British Ace, you're quite right. I did actually explain to an Australian that we should actually call soccer football because the code is older than the 3 games that we play in Australia that are called football. Hey Andreas, do you warn people coming into stations? Oh, I'm good today. I had a day on the railway yesterday. That was always fun. It's always a bit interesting. Got a bit of a hill coming up here. Today I'm doing this, and I'll do something monumentally exciting like hang out my washing. And then I'm going to, and you're going to laugh at this because it just proves how much of a nerd I really am, I'm going to the Lego Club Christmas party. And then I'm going to help someone move all of the furniture from a dead person's house. On the hottest day we've had so far this year. Timed it well. And the big tourist just takes the hill in its stride. It just doesn't care. Not at all. Next week I'm firing steam again. Another trip to Lakeside. And a little bit later on this year, on the 27th, I'll be doing my first run to Gembrook, which is up the big scary hill. Made it to the top 16 too, NJT. Indeed. It is quite an achievement, really, when you think about it. Yeah, and you're having a very cold one there, I've seen. It's impressive. You could just call him Ace Joe, or you could call him Joe Ace. Either way, it'd work. Buy myself a Christmas present. I don't know if my background is easy to see this, but I felt like getting into Lego Technic, so it's not that you see it, is it? Hang on, what about do this? Nah. Well, you're catching glimpses of it. I thought I'd do some Lego Technic, but I've never tried Technic before, so I bought the biggest set they had because it seemed like a good idea at the time. Where we're stopping? It is where we're stopping. Belden am Wittersee. First quiz question. How many stations on the route? Feel free to Google it. Ah, Amanda calls you Ace Joe. That's nice. Am I going too fast on the approach to a station? On this route, NJTE, Drautalbahn. Give it lots of brakes. Didn't even have a fresh post-it note ready. It's a good thing you're here today, NJTE, because you've been losing your lead on the leaderboard. British Ace says it's time to start installing lots and lots of German routes on the console for TSW. If on Monday the thing doesn't work, back to the PC version. Ah, it should work, Joe, I hope. I hope. I wouldn't have thought we still have to refer to it as a thing. People know it's coming out. Coming out this week, Train Sim World 3, Bremen Oldenburg. And oddly enough, It's going to be quite new to me as well. You have to use real brakes to actually stop, not just electric ones. Okay, fair enough. Because I didn't actually beta test Bremen Oldenburg. I don't know why I didn't. So it'll be nice and fresh for me as well. I'll be experiencing the same thing that everybody else is, which is awesome. Peaceful moment in the Austrian woods. Now we're going to go to Portschak. Portschak? Is that a place where you drink wine? Whoops, I'm not supposed to do that, am I? What's interesting is the rail driver with the main train brake handle, when you pull it downward, it releases the brakes. But the independent brake handle, you have to push it away from you to release the brakes. No one's having a guess at the number of stations on Drautalbahn. What's going on? What is YouTube doing? Nothing exciting by the looks. Oh, there you go. NJTE scores the first points of the day. Well done, sir. Andreas says he can't use the city shuttle wagons that I'm pulling because the freeware cab car has a different scale, but there are fitting freeware CS wagons available. That'd be good for making up your own scenarios and things. Says he, cruising off into the wilderness going way too fast because the Taurus is just way too powerful for this tiny train. I've clearly been driving too many underpowered trains, and you get in this one and it just goes whoosh. But that's okay. Off we go to Portschak am Wörthersee. Sounds like a chocolate company. Nice lake coming up on our right here. Very flat and very blue. Andreas, do you use the horn at stations you're not stopping at? Now this would be a cool spot to live, wouldn't it? Because that's your view. Worries her. Not even a train going past at 130 kilometres an hour. She's not fussed at all. Andreas says we only use horns in danger situations and when there are whistle sticks and whistle signs. If we see a whistle stick, let me know. I actually do love that you don't use the horn at level crossings. It's just the different attitude of a lot of Europe is that people actually have to take care of themselves because the universe isn't going to do it for them. assume that last signal means we're diverging, so I'm going to slow down a lot before we get there. Doesn't look like we are diverging though. Doesn't look like there's anywhere to diverge to. That's okay. So I guess that's not what that signal means. Now arriving Port Shack. So who's looking forward to blowing circuit breakers all the time on Bremen Oldenburg? Yeah, we're a bit similar, British Ace. Although when we honk at crossings, it's more like a little meep. Because they use the city horn, which is a quiet thing. It's not like America where they do the wake up everything for 5 miles around them horn. Hello, David Park. Welcome aboard. Andreas says, really enjoys driving US routes and the use of the horn there. Different countries have different rules and different behaviour. Very much so. So, good enough. Better move a bit, because we'll be right in the way of that one. Bit of freight going through. Tractor time. Going behind a wall. Who knows? How is everybody going today? Off we go to Klagenfurt. Just Sim TV says he likes German. I shouldn't say he, she. Who knows? Shouldn't assume. Likes German routes, but British is their favourite. It's cool. David's playing some West Somerset Railway. Don't like how slow the route is. I'm just trying to finish the scenarios at least. Just do what I do, David Park. Just drive it at 50 miles an hour. What's the problem? Doesn't work so well with the scenarios though. More beans. You're absolutely right, Andreas. Andreas says for sure he doesn't do it the right way, but it's a game. Yep, that's it exactly. You can get really hung up on these things, or you can just enjoy yourself. And, you know, it's kind of what games are about. I know there's intensely serious sim players, but, you know, you don't really have to be. You'll still get a medal, David Park. It'll just be a bronze. Or is it possible to not get any medals at all? I can't say, well, I don't know. I don't think so. I think you always get a bronze, no matter how badly you go. It's a nice bit of trackside detail here. Another lake. Fortuitous lake shot. Can we see the train from the lake? Yes. It's very blue, isn't it? Oh, now there's the camera angle. We'll just keep this one. This is good. That's a perfect camera angle. Took away my fence. Moment we'll be able to unleash the mighty Taurus. Let it do another 10 Ks. Yeah, I think so, David. David says you get the points for stopping at stations and loading passengers. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. You get more points if you don't speed. And you get, the more accurate you are with your station stops, the more points you get. There you go. Already at 140 before we get there. Not quite right, but it'll do. As they say in that famous movie, that'll do, pig. That'll do. Andreas says in one of his first streams, he drove the big boy over the Semmering. The double stacks didn't even fit under the catenary. In real life, she would be too heavy axle-wise and too wide for the curves. Yeah, it's a bit like model trains. You can run ridiculously large model trains around ridiculously tight curves. It looks silly, but it works. We whoosh through another station. I think this one only goes to Klagenfurt. Let's have a look. It does. Then we'll have to do something else. There's a winter freight one, we might do that. See what it looks like covered in snow. Oh, another gratuitous lake shot. So in a route with no bridges, you do gratuitous lake shots instead. There we go. Surely that's screenshot worthy. Nice little Germanic village. And another 1016. How fast are we going? Maybe a little too fast, but that's fun, isn't it? Hello, Brad MacArthur. Welcome. And you've ridden a train between Villach and Klagenfurt in 2016. That's pretty cool. And thank you for being a member. If anybody else is interested in becoming a member, it's available now. Lexic Dark says, speaking of Austrians, I guess it's like Asperger's, but from gaming fun to strict simulation. Yeah, there are people who get a bit carried away about how strictly they should play. And sometimes I try to do the right thing, and sometimes I just have a relaxing run like this one. And I look at the speed and go, oh well, it's good enough. Mainly because in real life I can't do that. In real life I have to behave myself. Passengers, we are now arriving at Klagenfurt. Get your Scheisen together and get off my train. This train will terminate here. Andreas says, do you know what the Z means on the pole in this station? It shows the engineer when to leave, or something like that. Oh, so if it lights up, you can go. That's fair enough. So they've got timetabling built into the signals. That's scary. What a gentle and planned stop we're doing here. Passengers, a nice gentle ride as we come through here. RSSLO always seems to put the sleepers, the track asset that they've used has very close together sleepers, so you get all these funny Moya patterns. Yay, old game engines. Lots more tourists around. Still haven't seen one of the AI trains. NJTE's back from picking up a pizza, fair enough. David Park says he's broken a lot of train rules in TSW and TSC. Brad says, haven't we all? Yep. Yes, we have. I've broken a few just in the last 20 minutes or so. Just one or two. Pretty good sized station. I assume that's a roof over there that just juts out into nowhere on the left-hand side. Wait, let me down there. I'm about to stop something. Stop it. Normally only bounce off things in Train Sim World. David's going to speed through WSR now. The only downside of speeding through WSR is you can end up waiting 20 minutes at one of the intermediate stations. All stop. All change, please. All change. This train is terminating here. That means you have to get off. Have to get off here. You and your twin brother. Do you have the creepiest smile ever or what? It's another serial killer day at Klagenfurt HBF. And just for Lexic Dark, Hochburnhof. There you go. British Heritage Railways are limited to 25 miles an hour because then they don't have to maintain their track or their rolling stock to mainline standards. And it's much cheaper to do that. Alright then, let's try this winter one, shall we? I always like this train. The Allegra. It's kind of cool. Why are we in quick drive again? I want to be in quick drive. This one. I'm going to try the winter one. It's my phone buzzing at me. Oh, it's Google wanting to know if I'm satisfied with the notification. That's a very interesting thing to survey people about. That's a bit like the doors in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Glad to be of service. Today you're driving a freight train to Klagenfurt. That's where we just went. Wait for the green light. There's no manual that comes with this one. Andreas, do you know how to turn on PZB in this thing? Wait for the green light and then we get a yellow one. Fair enough. Bit of headlights wouldn't go astray either. That one too, I think. That's safer. Bet shift numpad plus. No. Shift numpad 7, that works on some of them. No. What was that carriage? Oh, it's timber with snow on it. Okay. Fair enough. I'll just pay attention now because I've got CIFA turned on. Good. It's the usual CIFA key. It's not something silly like spacebar. I agree, Andreas. It does do a nice job of winter time. And everything gets a bit of a dusting. It's quite cool. Guess who didn't press CIFA? Uh-oh. Can I acknowledge and keep going like you can? Yeah, apparently. No? No? You can't. No, it just makes you stop. Alright, you can be quiet now. Go on, shut up. Honking because it's dangerous. Now I probably can't reset it, can I? There we go. Yeah, control numpad in to turn CIFA on. CIFA's not that good for streaming. NJT, yes, the air that's being released is what causes that loud hiss, indeed. That is all the pressure escaping from the air brakes. Of course there's a tree there. And a pole. Hello, Donald Land. Welcome. Oh, I don't mind doing AFB and PZB. Just means you've got to stay in a cab. But, yeah. CIFA's a pain in the bum when you're streaming, when you can't hear it outside the loco. Gratuitous spread shut. Fairly little freight train. You little shorty. So it's not really going to test the power of the Taurus too much. Andreas says the cement rails are a bit of a pain in the eye. There are better ones, but overall it is okay. No, I don't mind it. I mean, RSSLO normally does a pretty decent job on the routes. Certainly makes a lot of them. Control enter is PZB. Well, let's try that. Never turn on PZB when you're moving, apparently. Excellent. Well, we shall wait for this to come to a halt. And we have learnt our lesson. And we won't do that again. Actually, David, yes, I am quite excited for Bremen Oldenburg because I didn't beta test it, so it's going to be quite fresh. Sounds like we're wheel slipping, doesn't it? It's going to keep yelling at me till it actually stops. I'm just trying to find the wipers at the moment. Cheat and use the key. Thank you. Okay, now we'll be allowed to start, and now I'll be under monitoring probably, so I'll have to do 40 kilometers an hour for a little while. Well, apparently not, because my lights aren't flashing. Come on, little train. You can do it. You're not trying though, are you? What's happening with our brakes? We got brakes on? We do have brakes on. Okay. There we go. So I've now learnt to not turn on PZB while moving in Train Simulator. I've got to be a little bit careful not to go slippy. I found an excellent video yesterday. It's only a little short one, about 4 minutes long, but it's actually watching these things trying to start in the snow. And just the way the traction control works, it's really good. Northern Illinois train spotting. I'm going to remove that comment because that's not appropriate. And that one. And Donald Lampass, doesn't this route only give 2 consist options with this locomotive, a single loco or a pair of them? Yeah, it does with their scenarios. You can do more. my brakes are still on. There we go. That's accelerating better. So if you're making your own scenarios, you can make any consist you want. Yes, it can be listening to the chat and trying to read the chat and not doing what your train wants you to do. That can get you in trouble. You have unleashed the power of the Taurus. 225 kilonewtons of yank. I was going to say something else then. That's probably not appropriate. It is your fault, Northern Illinois Train Spotting. You're the one who said it. Hello, Ryan C. No, it's not my first time in the 1016, but I sillily turned on PZB while I was moving and it bit me. I'm pretty sure Northern Illinois Train Spotting that a lot of railroads already have electrified and steam is around, so the answer to your question is yes. Those wood wagons are really noisy compared to the others, aren't they? Oop, going too fast again. Being naughty. An interesting beast, the 1016. My headlights are super dull. They're on, but they're dull. We breeze through this lovely snowy weather, coming from a sky with almost no clouds in it. We shall just pretend this incongruity doesn't exist. Hello, Mr. Quicko. Haven't seen you for a while. Welcome. We're driving a 1016 Taurus. Drautalbahn. Heading for Klagenfurt in 67 kilometres away. Lexic Dark says, looking into it a bit further, the Stromrichter has a bit of fun switching the 15 kilovolt 16.7 Hz with its low switching frequency and the tone pitch jumps. Siemens kept it cheap and simple. And they kept it cheap and simple, but they also had a sense of humour, because they made it play scales. And there's quite a few videos where they've actually used the train control system to play music. Yeah, Austria is fairly interesting. Got a bit of bright sunlight behind us at the moment. Let's have a look. Where'd that come from? I thought the sun had just come over the mountains or something, but apparently not. And yeah, the sounds are a bit, some of them are a bit loud, aren't they, in JTE? Northern Illinois Train Spotting says he wonders what short lines will do when class-run railroads, this is America of course, remove diesels from their roster when they start electrifying. They will do this. They will drive electric trains. It's pretty simple. Adam, I was just wondering what you think of living next to a railway line. Is it disturbing at all? Does it do anything for you? No? Does it worry you? Do anything for your milk? You don't talk much, do you? Alright, I'll leave then. Bye. Oh, there's plenty of snow today, Ryan C, because we're doing a wintertime run in freight. And I am weirdly behaving myself when it comes to speed. Just a little bit. Lexic Dark says, not a problem to play music. There's even some smart switching algorithms used to get rid of the harmonics and keep it quiet. Yeah, the American version of this doesn't actually play the tones, so I guess that's what they did. Because the Alstom locomotives they've got on Amtrak use the same kind of technology. The three-phase AC traction motors. was curious whether they animated. Do the red lights go off? They do. Someone's all set for winter there with a little firepower. See you later, Mr. Quicko. Thanks for dropping in. I think most governments will... Let's see if I can move that a little bit with the keyboard rather than the rail driver. No, it still moves a lot. I think most governments will probably start funding electrification. Because we're going to be in a world of hurt if we don't. And it's such a massive job, private companies probably wouldn't even try. Do you see where that light keeps coming from? You get these bright lights every now and again, like then. But where does it come from? It's not as though the sun's in the sky just popping over a mountain or anything. But that's okay, it makes it look interesting. We cruise along with our wagons full of dirt. Maybe the wagons full of dirt protect the crew from that dangerous wood. They're just buffer cars. Could be. Is that an adverse signal? Not actually sure. It says something. Oh well. If we get stopped, we'll know why. Probably because I'll be going too fast. I don't think it's adverse. Well, I don't have to acknowledge it because it hasn't stopped me. Yes, it has. Oh well. Alright, lesson learnt. That is an adverse signal and I should have acknowledged it. Hydrogen locomotives still need batteries in JTA. And all I can really say about hydrogen is remember the Hindenburg. It's a dangerous fuel. And the reason it's a dangerous fuel is because it burns completely clear. You don't know until it cooks you. And Zwangsbremsung is, of course, you idiot.
Zwangsbremsung.
Yeah, you can stop now, it's okay. Stop yelling at me now. Go on. Thank you. Ready for power yet? Ready now? No. Ready now? No. Let me guess, the independent brake came on again. No, it hasn't. There we go. I'm just being impatient. Now this time I should acknowledge this one, shouldn't I? Come on, little train, you can do it. Stop going backwards. Power. Lexic Dark does say that the energy supply issue isn't a simple one, very much so. There's still the issue of how you produce electricity in the first place, and hydrogen production needs electricity to split and compress. There's actually some new battery technology which looks very promising, using much less rare metals, so they're much more commonly available. Nickel cobalt, I think, if I remember rightly. So they'll be slightly radioactive, but that's okay. Can't be a problem there, can there?
Zugbeeinflussung.
don't think I need to worry too much about keeping my speed low, because it's not even going fast yet. Cruise control, but how do I turn on AFB? Can you do it when you're driving? You can!
RSB.
Go on, figure it out. You can't do it when you're driving. Did I just learn something else about the Taurus? I think I did. Don't turn on AFB when you're driving. Alright, we'll turn it off.
RSB. RSB. RSB.
Stop it. And then we'll turn it on. When it comes to a stop. It's almost there. Go on. A little bit more. You're not quite stopped yet. You're just sliding in the snow, aren't you? Alright, now let's turn it on.
RSB. RSB. RSB.
And we're in monitoring as well. Are you going to let me power up? Oh. What? Do you have to turn on something else to use AFB? That's an interesting question. Or do we just wait and be patient? Brakes are coming off. Is it going to power? No. Let's try again. It releases the brakes to a point, but then it doesn't power. Does AFB not work in this locomotive? That's a good question, Andreas. What is this thing just random turning stuff on when we're driving and braking my train? I'm thinking that AFB is going to go away.
RSB. RSB.
And we'll just drive without it. If it'll power. There it goes. Alright, so it'll power now. I'll just behave myself manually. Yes, I am trying to get traction in wet and slippery conditions. It's very moist. And NJT says it's better than having underpowered miners in the Congo. Do you know how much lithium's mined in Australia? Heaps of it. And where do we send it all? China. What do they do with it? They turn it into phone batteries and send it back to us. Come on, little train, you can do it. You can hear it applying and releasing traction. Over it over. Morning, madam. Do you think this driver's a bit of an idiot? There she is. Random cow screenshot. No, I don't really think it's sluggish. I think it's just trying to get moving on very slippery rails. Siemens' traction system is quite good at getting going, but it has to work at it. This. It's a maze. That's amazing. Interesting building. It's supposed to be in a sawmill, I think. I do have to remember I still have BZB turned on, so I can't really stay out of the cab all the time. Let's go up here to this place and we'll watch it come through. Very slowly. Because we're on the outside track, aren't we? think. Hope we are. Otherwise, we're not going to get very far past that. But I think we're on this track. Looks like it. Headlights don't show too well. Let's give it all the power. More power. Come on, Taurus, you can do it. Then we have two 1016s sitting over there on a train full of wood. Just got to watch my speed because I think I'm still under monitoring. So I want to go too fast. That probably hasn't timed out yet. Do what all Gunzels do and stand on the woodpile, because that's really safe. No, monitoring has expired. Give it a bit more speed. This is a somewhat more challenging drive, mainly because I keep fiddling with it. So for the next quiz question, can you turn on PZB when you're moving in this train? And if you can, what happens? That's worth 20 points, 10 for each. It's Serial Killer Sunday. There's his twin brother. Andreas says on the Brenner or on the Semmering you have two in front and one at the end, but also mixed with other locos like the 1144 and the Vectron. Well, the correct answer is you can turn it on, but you probably shouldn't. So 10 for Nitz, and Brad, since your answer came in at the same time, you get the 20. Because you actually said what happens when you turn it on. Some more grunt. Otherwise we will be here forever on our way to Klagenfurt if we don't speed up. That's a good way to put it, Lexic Dark. Find out what kind of tool is in the driving chair. People who are called drivers, and engineers, and conductors, even loco pilot. It is interesting to me that Indians do describe train drivers as loco pilots, because their train language, their nomenclature, should have come from English railways. And the only thing I can think of is that in railways that don't have strong safe working systems, they often had a pilotman who would ride in the loco. And if you had the pilotman, that was your authority to go. I kind of think that's where that might have metamorphed from. It became loco pilot. The sun going away now. Now very, very super bright gauges. For 10 points, are the passenger trains on this? IC or ICE? Yeah, pilot did come from boats as well. And planes. But I kind of suspect that the Indian pilot version for trains might have come from pilotmen working. It's just a guess. Green signal. You'll be pleased to know in the 1016 the PZB keys and acknowledge keys are the usual keys that you find. They're not the funny set that you find on some locos. These wood cars are really loud compared to the others. Oop. That sounded like an overhead wire breaking then. I heard the twang and then saw that other train stopped and thought, that's no good. Gravity bringing our speed down. 10 points, Brad. Into capital indeed. Lexic Dark says the nautical pilot was a local navigation hazard expert that came about to sort out the captain. It's pretty much the same in trains. Before they had block-controlled signalling and things like that. And even now it's still used if there's a failure. They'll put a pilotman on the train sometimes. And the pilotman's in charge with the, or in connection with the signaller. I think I've slowed down enough for the upcoming 80 zone. Probably a little too much. PZB does that to you. Missing the opportunity to interview some more cows. David, I actually thought they were intercapital. No, intercapital intercity express. But how about I just give you both 10 points? Here we go, sorted. I have clearly need to pay more attention. I'm just going to turn off the gauges because they're bright and annoying.
Zugbeeinflussung.
What if there's a, is there a gauge dimming knob? Look like there's a gauge dimming knob. There's a push button, but it's not active. This looks alright with the cab lights on, so we'll just keep the cab lights on. Doesn't look too bad. Intercity, there you go. And Brad, yes, the pilotman is a human staff, a staff and ticket working, very much so. If you don't know staff and ticket, it's also known as token. And basically you have to be in possession of a object to be allowed into the next section. Could be Intercity Express, could be Intercapital Express, who knows? It's okay, I'll give them both 10 points. I shall live in ignorance. But thank you for trying to educate me. wonder they wanted to just slow down. This is quite a tight corner. Nice squealy wheel flanges. Northern Illinois train spotting says next weekend he's got a blizzard heading his way, so wish me luck out in the snow if you go rail fanning. I've got a steam engine heading my way. I'll be firing a little Baldwin Prairie 262 narrow gauge locomotive running on 2'6" track to Lakeside and back. Have a look at what timetable run actually, because it might be a run to Menzies Creek and Lakeside and back. Let's see what it is. Because I think we'll be double heading out of Belgrave with the Garrett. Out of the corners shortly and allowed to speed up. Once the back of our train reaches that sign, and we're speeding up anyway, like that. And Nits, you can't use the way of keeping your camera batteries warm that one of my friends uses, because you don't have the appropriate equipment. She puts her camera batteries in under her boobs to keep them warm. Because if you don't keep your lithium batteries warm, they don't work very well. Looks a little like a gas plant or something, doesn't it? Sort of has that flavour about it. Unless it's nuclear, that is possible. They could be reactors, I suppose. And not gasometers. I pull out of Belgrave at 10 AM, Brad. Broke the universe yesterday. The first train left at 10:01. Normally, if they're lucky, if they get out by 10 past. NJTE says it's a super secret agents building. Could be. Do Austrians have a secret police? I didn't see any snow in Melbourne in our winter, but I guess that's not a surprise. Cool, great. You can watch me make a dick of myself blowing off the safety valves on the platform. Just let gravity pull our speed down a little. Although, as I keep getting told by my firing instructor, nothing pulls. Interesting is losing so much speed when it's not actually going uphill. That could be why. We need to slow down soon anyway. We have got a 60 zone coming up. Nice green signal. fast approaching Villach. JT just finished his pizza rated best in New Jersey. What did you rate it?
Zugbeeinflussung.
Just in case there's a magnet at the speed down sign. I don't think there was, but just in case. But given the 85's flashing, I'm guessing there was. And I also have 1000 hertz. I'd have to use some real brakes to slow this down. Maybe not. You're right. That was an interesting frame rate just there. What are we getting? 16. Ooh, that's a bit low. That's the problem with really highly detailed routes, I suppose. Sometimes they get a bit sad. Come through the yard. Villach. What are the odds of us having green signals? The biggest issue with TSC is it doesn't think about what you can see, and it draws everything. So everything in the direction that you are looking at, it draws it, even if you can't see it because there's a hill in the way. So the scenery after this hill in front of us, for example, is being drawn. More modern game engines don't do that. It'd be a good update to TSC to not do that. It'll probably crash someone's game because they probably depend on it. Cruising through our little yard here. Sun's going down very early. Did I miss a comment from Lexic Dark somewhere? Sorry you're feeling uncomfortable, Andreas. I'm trying to see the post that made you feel uncomfortable. I don't actually see anything. Ah, David, my day's been okay so far. It's really only just beginning. It's only 9:47 AM here. I'm not sure what concerned Andreas. I'm slightly confused. I shall contact him later and find out what it was, because I just went back through the comments and I don't see anything. Okay. I didn't actually see that in my list, NJT. Where do you see it, Andreas? I don't see it. Trying to find it. Oh, I've got top chat turned on, not live chat. Sorry. Okay, let me find it. Now that I've got live chat turned on, let me see if I can see everything, because, yeah, that's not appropriate. Where is it? Okay. The only one I can find is Secret Strait Police. So I can't really find anything, but... Yep, I'm going too fast. Hopefully it's just a misunderstanding, guys. Hopefully. I can't see anything that's specifically that, no. So this time. The snow has stopped. Coming to Villach. Knowing who Lexic Dark is and his family background, Andreas, he would not mean that in that way. A little bit of a hill after we come out of here. Hello, Epic the 112. Welcome. Epic the 112 says, made for TSW3 console players, Drautalbahn will suffer the same problems as the German route and you lack PZB dedicated buttons and AFB cruise control. That's an issue with the number of buttons on controllers, really. But if you plug in a keyboard into your console, you do have dedicated keys, so you can always do that. It even feels like we're going uphill here. It's quite the hump. I I understand, Andreas. Thank you for hanging around, though. Coming over the top of the hump. About to go down the other side. It's a little bit of a roller coaster, this route. In a normal adhesion train sense, these are fairly steep gradients looking at the numbers. Trying to do the PZB thing of staying 5 under the limit and struggling a little. Time for the next uphill. Villach telling you off, NJTE. It is a bit of a challenge when the train talks to you in a different language. I find the hardest ones the 406, the ICE 3. That one has a lot to say. Vienna, Andreas. Excellent. Australians kind of know Vienna as the home of coffee and sausage. You can buy a coffee here that gets called Vienna coffee, which is black coffee with a whole lot of cream on top of it. I don't know if that's a real Viennese thing, or is it just something that we have misappropriated and vandalised, which is quite possible though in Aussies. Coming into Velden am Wörthersee. Yeah, Vienna has a modern reputation for neutrality. I think that's why some exchanges happen there in JTE. I do like coffee, David Park. I had a very nice espresso before I started the stream. Using my little Italian coffee maker. I had to get a new one recently. My wife broke my old one. It wasn't her fault. She dropped it on the floor and the handle broke off it. So she very kindly went and found me a new one. It's going to take a little while for it to develop the flavour of my probably 30-year-old Violetti, but it'll get there. Andreas says that coffee came to Vienna from Turkey. Yeah, I think Turkey was one of the first countries that actually spread coffee out everywhere else. And Andreas says we have a little more than coffee and sausage. We also have trams. We've got some amazing artworks, got some really cool museums. look something up then. Vienna is one of the cities that's on my one-day list. The Grand European Tour, if we ever get to do it. I have this crazy idea of going to different cities to ride their trams. I don't know why, I just do. It's actually interesting, Andreas. Andreas says that sometimes tourists might know the city better than living here. That does happen, because when we live in a place, you don't necessarily visit all the places or look around what's available in your city or where the historic points are. But tourists that are coming to visit, they have such a short time. They often do a lot of research before they go there. This is quite an interesting freight run. I generally don't play really long freight runs, but this one you're on and off the power so much, it's actually quite interesting. We're back at our giant lake. Andreas says if it's available, he recommends doing the third 3D man tour, Vienna's underground from the Eye of Fern. Oh, cool. If I ever do that grand tour, the intention would be to have several months to do it, with the idea of doing some narrowboat in the UK, and then doing a bit of a touring around UK and Wales and Scotland, or I shouldn't say the UK, Scotland, but England, Wales and Scotland, and then head over into the rest of the European continent. France, Belgium because I've got friends there, Bulgaria because I've got friends there, Vienna because it's cool. Brad says one of the best things he did in Vienna was go on a long bike ride to the Danube and surrounding areas. It is always nice to actually bike around cities that you're visiting. You do tend to see a lot more because you're moving quicker than walking, but you're moving slow enough that you can see and appreciate things. I have circumnavigated the island of Manhattan on a bike. Took a while. It's bigger than I thought it was. "12 k's to Klagenfurt." Interesting how many freight trains are stopped in passenger platforms. I wonder if the service that they're running in the scenario is set up as a passenger service with stopping. It's possible, I suppose. And are we going to get to Klagenfurt before it's actually dark? Because darkness is, of course, the enemy of the streamer. But I'm ridiculously bright now. That's quite a collection of historic figures there, looks it go. It is interesting how many historic figures, positive or negative, who went on to influence the world, did actually know each other earlier in their lives. It's such a small number of people impact so many lives. I guess that just means it's a city that has traditionally encouraged freedom of thought. Watch out, mate. Freight train. Our frame rate's clearly a bit better here. Yeah, it is. 32. Since there was no stuttering on the 90-degree view then, that's the hardest thing for gaming engines to do. Seven Ks to Klagenfurt. It's a bit of a melting pot city then, Vienna. It's a little bit like Melbourne. We have a huge variety of people here. It's been a city that's encouraged immigration for a very long time. Well, when I say very long time, probably not in the sense of European very long time, an Australian long time. It wasn't that long ago that Australia had the White Australia policy. And apart from some exceptions, it meant you actually had to be white to emigrate here. That was in 1976 that went away, if I remember correctly. Nearly there, 4K to go. Just letting gravity and friction eat away the speed as we approach. I haven't even seen one of the other AI trains on this route. I've only seen 1016s. There's supposedly another one, I haven't seen it once. It's another passenger train. It's a white one. Almost tempted to build a scenario for it. It's quite a nice route, and I think it would be awesome with a little bit more variety of traffic. It's not too slow a run. NJT.
Zugbeeinflussung.
Lexic Dark indeed. Was commenting that the settler colonials doing a white Australian policy is high hypocrisy. It was. We did actually commit genocide in this country in a really big way, and it's pretty easy to argue that we still are. I think it's better, but it's a long way from good. Sad.
Zugbeeinflussung.
As the chant says, always was, always will be. It is sad what we've done to a civilization that's 65,000 years old. Andreas says in Switzerland women's suffrage was only enforced in the mid-70s. Women got the right to vote here in 30s or 40s, I think. Something along those lines. It's been a little while since I've needed that knowledge, so that may not be accurate. Coming into Klagenfurt. After I finish this, I have to do something exciting, which is hang out my washing. Not this scenario. And then I've got to record some tutorials. And then go off to the Lego Christmas party. Do a nice slow crawl into the yard. We do have rather a low frame rate here too, 16 FPS. A little bit of a slideshow. The world is a patriarchy, NJT, in case you hadn't noticed. Changing. Different amounts in different places. I know in our organisation, it's about 60% of the leadership are female now. Which is actually really good. Anyway, that was before the nation Lexic Dark, so yeah, South Australia was a little different. South Australia was a Germanic colony. That's why they have places like Harndorf. We came fairly close to having a dictatorship here during COVID. Federally. Our Prime Minister gave himself a whole lot of powers by swearing himself in as a whole lot of different government ministers. It's all been coming out in an inquiry recently, and he's nothing will actually happen to him because, of course, he's a politician. But truth's coming out. Not quite there yet. If I stop too early, the scenario might not finish. How do we get onto these strange topics anyway? We should be talking about railways. Strange pink skies. And the fact that I'm crawling towards a red signal and this stopping point is awfully close to it. Surely not. We're stopping here. How close you have to get to the signal to finish it? Trains just don't go that close to red signals. Just don't. That's almost so close that you actually can't read it. There you go. The sun is going down currently in JTE. One last Drautalbahn. Winter holidays. It's a green one. It's actually kind of fun playing scenarios that I haven't played for before, to be honest. Usually I've played them all by the time I stream them, but I never got a chance to do it with Drautalbahn. That's actually kind of better. Driving a passenger train. Excellent. PZB on. I turn on CFA too, but then I'd have to stay in the train. Ooh, yuck, green. Put brakes on so it doesn't roll away. Dare I try AFB this time? Let's try it.
AFB, AFB, AFB.
Let's see what happens. What could go wrong? Yeah, you're right. It is a tight end margin. I mean, in a passenger platform, you do actually get relatively close to your signals, but yes, you need to be able to see them. But in freight operation, it would be very unusual to even get within 3 or 4 carriage lengths of a red signal without stopping. Because you need a bit of space with a freight train. They don't always stop. You should be able to release from PZB as soon as we get moving. Then let's make sure the doors are shutting. They are. Just having learnt the hard way, make sure your doors are actually shut before you go. It's off. See if it powers up. Yep. So it looks like it is actually going to believe AFB, which is good. So we just give it lots of fang. We should be able to release as we had a green signal. The release I'm talking about is PZB, because we were under monitoring them with the 70 and the 85 flashing, but because we had a green signal, there's no reason why you can't release that and just travel at full speed. And I'm not giving it full power because frankly it just doesn't need it. Now, I know in Train Sim World they've been doing better on the routes in getting longer stopping distances for services and scenarios. Still get it a bit wrong on scenarios sometimes, but the services are generally fairly good now. Because there's nothing quite like driving a 2-hour service, running a massive freight train, only to run through the red at the end of it because you just weren't thinking about it enough. So having some recovery distance is always a good idea. Imagine driving in that. We're supposed to stop here. Oh. I don't know if we're going to, but I have much brakes on. If we're lucky, we might have a door in the platform. Oh, I'm going to make it. I'm tipping in that carriage, there would be coffee and laptops and phones all over the floor. Everywhere. Andrea says, in Austria, you're not allowed to release the restriction from the blinky thing because there are some incidents, but this rule changes from time to time. Different PZB regulations. Germany, you can release from restriction. And the ironic thing about that is you'd think that would make you late, not being able to do it, but the German train system notoriously runs late, and Austrian doesn't. Go figure. And his shadow. Does he still project that way if you're outside the train? He does. Yeah, it's just kind of a funny screenshot. You kind of have to do it. The inner photographer in me, sorry. Are our doors actually closed? Opening again. Okay. We'll wait then. Let's go for a fly. Go look at the town. I am slightly confused. Is it a carport? Or is it some alien creature reaching out of the ground? If snow ever gets deep enough, they have to come out of their second floors. Yes, thank you for travelling with Deutsche Bahn. Looks like they've closed again, so I guess we can go. If it'll let me after that ridiculous stop, we'll still see. Still say my brakes are on. Off it goes. It's not quite reading the rail driver properly for the brake handle. Our rail network's underfunded. We actually managed not too bad on the on-time front. The operator measures it at something like 99.8%. PTV measure it at something like 95.6%, and the Public Transport Users Association measures it at just over 90%, which probably isn't that bad. Ready for our next stop, which is Ferndorf. Yeah, the open to competition thing in railways doesn't work that well because they literally compete. Our system works a little bit better because VicTrack is still a government organisation, and VicTrack is who controls the track and signals.
No shouting when wearing a monocle. Instead of Google Glass. Betting he's not stopping. Off we go. Hey, the headlights light up properly this time. Some nice shadow work today on the route. Andreas says, the train, you might stop at the 140 sign in the catenary or on the platform. Lexic Dark, contrast with electricity supply in Australia. They underfund it because the running cost is cheaper and consequent failures drive up the spot price, making it more profitable. Yeah, funny that. Mind you, there's a lot of tree lopping companies making a fortune out of power in Victoria. Ever since the outcome of the court cases that blamed the poles and wires. Take it up to 135. It's an interesting question who adequately funds their railways, Brad. I'm sure everybody's got deficiencies of some kind or another. With Japan's railways, the difference between Shinkansen and the Bing Bong trains is extreme. And there's really not much in the middle. The Bing Bongs are quite slow services. And of course the Shinkansen's super fast, but there's not really any high-speed services between the two of them.
Zwangsbremsung. Zwangsbremsung.
Okay.
Zwangsbremsung.
I clearly missed something.
Zwangsbremsung.
That's
Zwangsbremsung.
okay.
Zwangsbremsung.
Will we
Zwangsbremsung.
slide into the platform under emergency braking?
Zwangsbremsung. Zwangsbremsung.
I don't think I'm going to have that much style somehow. We're going to stop before we get there.
Zwangsbremsung. 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 Zwangsbremsung.
Die. Brakes to come off. And bring this back down to 40. Because even in Germany you shouldn't release from monitoring in this situation. So I dare say in Austria you wouldn't be allowed to either. Yes, approach not acknowledged. Boomf. And as it said, Zwangsbremsung. Emergency stop. Which you can more loosely translate into, ha ha! Reaches for the button so I don't get it wrong again.
Zugbeeinflussung.
Passengers, next stop, Rothenthurn. Or Rothenthurn. It's probably Rothenthurn, isn't it? Not to mention we'll be diverging off to the side here. I'm out of monitoring, but there's hardly any point speeding up. Yellow, green, green, and green means 60, and yellow, green above means 40. Ah, thank you. Excellent. That's the one challenge of driving simulators is trying to learn the signalling systems from 20 different countries and all the different regions in those countries. Because even in Australia, we don't have the same signalling system across the states. Similarities, but they're definitely not the same. We are in monitoring again. So we will stick to 40 kilometres an hour. Sounded like it was going to go, but no. Ah, it still thinks a little bit of brake on. Thank you, rail driver handle. Yellow, yellow, green, yellow, yellow means stop awaiting. Okay. Green over yellow here means your signal's busted. Because it would be yellow over green. Yeah, I've got AFB limited to 40, so we'll just let it sit here till it stops flashing. There's our last stop coming. Spittal Millstättersee. Hopefully I didn't butcher that too horribly. Yeah, Brad, I think so. That it's probably harder for simmers than real drivers who only know their local signalling systems. That and the real drivers have probably got somewhere between 6 months under supervision before they do their first solo runs, and then 18 months or so before they're considered to be qualified. Away we go. Is that new, Brad? I didn't think green over yellow meant anything, but clearly it does. Our signals at Puffin Billy are much simpler. They're either go slowly, go even more slowly, or stop. And there's only a couple of situations where we use any kind of caution indication. So there's one 3-colour light permissive that actually does use the third colour. There's a few permissives that have 3 colours, but only one of them's using it, and that's the crossover into East Loop at Belgrave. And the only other way you can really get a yellow indication anywhere on our railway is when you get a calling on into an occupied platform. Because there's someone else already there. Andreas says that if you drive Austria, Germany and Switzerland with freight trains, you have to know all 3 systems. I suppose you might have to know France too, wouldn't you, Andreas? Because there probably would be trains that would cross into France as well. And you definitely have to learn the route you're driving to be able to handle it in real life. Because in Train Simulator, it's like, oh, look, something bad happened. In real life, people died. Generally not appropriate as a train driver to kill people. Just saying. Oops. Up. Interesting structure. Little Quonset hut.
Zugbeeinflussung.
Don't think you have to acknowledge that sign, but just in case. Are we actually going to get down to the 80 in time? Yes, we are.
Zugbeeinflussung.
Good thing too, because there's speed checks straight after that signal. Brad says there used to be a distant repeater into Dandenong from Cranbourne in the pre-electrification days. Yellow over yellow meant the distance ahead was yellow. Ah. There's no magnet here, so I don't have to acknowledge this sign. And my panicky braking brought me down to a nice low speed, so it's all good. Passengers now arriving at Spittal Millstättersee. Please pick up your coffee, laptop and children off the floor, as this train will terminate here.
Zugbeeinflussung.
Give them a nice gentle break for a change. I like the compressor sound on these locos. Andreas says you also have GPE magnets that check your speed when speed reduction. You don't know if RSSLO has them on the route. Probably stop there.
Zugbeeinflussung.
There we go. Give them a nice gentle break into the station and then put all their stuff on the floor again. Perfect. See? Reading the chat. It's dangerous. And fortunately, that one wasn't red, so it's all good. I think that's it for this run. I think it's as far as this goes. It is indeed. So we're still a little early. What do we do now? We are very proud of you. Isn't that nice? That one won't be a good one for streaming. We could always run the freight shift, I suppose. Stormy. Oh, fair enough. We've been from Villach to Klagenfurt a few times, but let's do it again. Why not? You know, I don't think I'm even going to try and say that, Andreas. I think I would pronounce that so badly. Ooh. What's going on here? Where did the world go? You're driving a freight train to Klagenfurt. Wait for the green light. And we've got two 1016s. And they're looking mighty weird today. That's okay. Let's headlights, instrument lights. Maybe not that switch. It's a bit bright. Release the independent. Keep the normal brakes on for a bit. Let's turn on
AFB, AFB, AFB.
AFB and PZB. And we'll set the AFB speed 40, which should be safe enough coming out of the yard. Game says, time to go. Signal says, no, it's not. Now it is.
we go. Won't release. Should follow the Austrian custom.
Zugbeeinflussung.
Yeah, TSC does do pretty well for a really old game. Wood. Signal box. It's a pretty heavy fog. Be crossing every track that it's possible to cross, except this one. Monitoring hasn't timed out yet, so we should behave ourselves. Speed test device in a speed test section. There we go. Thank you, Andreas. They're called the Make Sure the Driver's Behaving Themselves testers. Super loud and some much quieter carriages again. It's been head off into the Austrian fog. We're still under monitoring. It's been rather a long time. I would have thought it would have timed out by now, but clearly not. What I'm watching, if you're wondering what I'm saying by monitoring, the 70 and the 80 at 5 flashing, I can't go over 45 kilometres an hour, regardless of what the speed limit is. Because if I do, the train will stop. Andreas says there are exact speeds when the magnet works. That is the thing a train driver must know. I'm only playing the game. Yep, we don't have to know everything. Makes life simpler. Still monitoring. Seems an unusually long time to be under monitoring. I think I might free from monitoring as we're going. Yeah, it's been a very long time. That much? Yeah, that'll do. Just under 100. Perfect. City's TSC. I'm assuming that we're limited to 100 since we're a freight train, so even when it gets faster, we're not allowed to go faster. Green signal, no acknowledge. Looks like my assumption was right. Thank you, Andreas. So I'm doing the PZB thing of sticking just under 100. The silhouette train. I've always thought AFB makes this job a bit too easy. And if you get AFB and LZB, you just go to sleep. Rig up a little Lego motor so it pulls on the super handle every now and again, you'll be right. This will be our last run today. Next week we'll be running Bremen-Oldenburg in Train Sim World. And during the week I will release some materials, some tutorials and things like that for Bremen. And new trains. There's really only one new train, the others we've had before, but so I'll do tutorials for the new one. And during the week, we'll have a stream running. I'll be doing, I think it's 8 PM my time on Wednesday. I haven't actually put it in the schedule yet, and I must write myself a little note to do that. Clatter. So I'm not going to try and stream it on the first night, I'm going to stream it on the second night. And this time as an ambassador, we're trying something a little bit different. If it works out. I won't be streaming it on the Train Sim World channel, but they're going to start the countdown on their channel. And they're going to redirect everybody to me when the countdown finishes. And we'll see if that works. And we'll see how many of them I get to keep when they figure out that it's not Matt or someone like that. So we'll see what happens. It's an interesting experiment. It's something I suggested that they do. And they went, we can do that. Sounds cool. I don't know if you've noticed, but Train Sim World are divesting. They do the launch stream, the pre-launch and the launch stream themselves. And the launch day streams and the subsequent days they're leaving to the ambassadors, and we volunteer to do particular time slots if we're interested. Yeah, I think Bremen-Oldenburg should be good. I think it'll be a lot more fun for me to stream it because I didn't beta test it, so I haven't had it for months. And like I said at the start, I don't actually know why I didn't beta test it. I did actually have a key for it, but it just never occurred to me to go and do it. There was just so much other stuff going on that I was doing those ones. I did tons for Cross City. Not much for Bremen. I haven't even seen the bridge yet. So after I finish this, I've got to learn the loco and do my tutorials. Tutorial, actually, there's only one for... no, there's two, because I've got to do the cab car as well. And submit them to the big list. That looks cool, doesn't it? Through the barbed wire. Nice silhouette. Everything green on this one. Rain's getting a little heavier. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens after the redirect. Because I'd expect that we'd probably start with a couple of hundred and see where we end up. See if I get any subscribers out of it too. "23 kilometers to go." Inside a train. Three. No, that's just clearly an image. I was thinking, TIS in Train Sim Classic? What? Surely not. Going to Klagenfurt, Ebenthal, siding number 3. So what would Drautalbahn translate to in English for 10 points? Or what is it called in English? That might be a better way to say it. It's probably not a direct translation. And for bread. Well done. And like most railways, this one had a much smaller beginning. It was called the Carinthian Railway. And it only went to Villach. bit of a dull old day, isn't it? I'll get the cab so I get to see this signal. It's green. Railways often follow rivers. It's because rivers generally fall gently. And railways need to fall gently as well. Quite looking forward to the animation in Bremen-Oldenburg with the new complex doors. I know it doesn't seem like a really big deal, but it's the first diamond pantograph too. It's interesting that both locomotives have their pantographs up. Don't know why, but I thought they would have fed through the interconnecting cables. "16 k's to go. Cruise through a level crossing. I almost want to turn Seafer on, but I won't, because then I can't jump out of the train, because it doesn't sound outside. There's nothing on this hub that tells you about it either, unfortunately. You have to run the other hub, the horrible big one. Actually getting hungry. Crumpets weren't enough, clearly. Crossing's coming up? No. But there's a gratuitous lake shot, which I'm not sure we'll be able to see the train from here. We'll know in a moment. Ben. was thinking it'd be fun to get out far enough in front of it to see a level crossing work, but then all these signals started to appear. Risk it. See if we can find a level crossing, because I want to see it shut. This one's already shut. Yeah, it is. Signal's green, so it's fine to be up here. Will there be a level crossing with the station? Maybe? Maybe not. Now I'm getting a bit too far ahead of the train. We'll be forever waiting for it to catch up. Yeah, I'm actually out of the... Too many tiles ahead of it. Train sim won't let me go. Yeah, that's seriously foggy when you can't see your own car. Now, back we go. Kilometers to go. On Magic Cruise. Misty Drava Valley. So next week is Bremen for Sunday, and we've got the midweek one. Any requests for the week after? It will be the 18th? '17th for some of you. Northern Hemisphere people 17th. Southern Hemisphere people 18th. Actually, depends where you are in the Northern Hemisphere, I suppose, because some of it will be the 18th for them too. I am due to stream on Christmas Day, but that's a family day, so I won't be. But I will probably pop up a premiere, a festive special premiere, I think. So I'll probably be around in the chat, but I don't think I'd get away with streaming because we do the family party here every year. And if I think I spent the first couple of hours in the morning streaming, not only would it get really loud, family people in here, it would probably also get me in a poo. I would not be doing things I'm meant to be doing, but chucking up a premiere is pretty easy because I can record that a few days before. I even know exactly what I'm going to run on that day. I have plans. Four kilometres to go. We should start seeing some adverse signalling soon, I imagine. So I'll stay in the cab because we'll have to start slowing down, I would expect. Very short little platform, this one, with an extra bit. I like the staggered platforms. It's much safer than having the platforms across from each other. Our platforms are so high that generally no one will get off them and run across to the other one, but these low platform trains, staggering them makes them safer.
Zugbeeinflussung.
Okay. No, off it goes again. I think it just overreacted to the brakes. I thought I failed to acknowledge something, but I acknowledged the signal. Bit amusing. I don't really know why it went all the way to stop then. Probably would have stressed out all the chain binders and things on the timber load a little bit then. Through the station.
Zugbeeinflussung.
Slowly cruise through. Nearly there.
Zugbeeinflussung.
The Zugbeeinflussen thing just means I'm acknowledging those signals with PCB if you've not heard that before. Last little bit before I can go and do something really exciting like hang out washing. $250 meters to go. I did actually take AFB down to 0 that time and it believed me. Scenario incomplete. You did not complete the scenario successfully. Yes, I did. Liar. Oh, there we go. Scenario incomplete. I think I finished it, but I think I confused it by stopping and then starting again. But that's okay. Oh well, thanks for hanging out, folks. So, Bremen Oldenburg next week in Train Sim World 3. There'll be a midweek stream on my Wednesday at my 8 PM, which is probably a bit like middle of the night for a lot of you guys. And the week after, usual time, I'll do Bremen Oldenburg again, and we shall play through some scenarios and have a look at some of the services, of which there are about 1,200 of them. Oh, thanks for hanging around, folks, and thanks for all the chat during the game. It's always good to see. And it's time to upload some screenshots. Why not? Seems fair. Alrighty. Thanks, folks. Enjoy yourselves. I think, Brad, you must be getting pretty close to NJTE's lead, so I will pop up the new leaderboard after this. Thank you, Michael. Have fun. Thanks, Lexic Dark, for hanging around. Brad, Andreas, a few other people hanging around who are being a little quiet in the chat, but all good. Have fun, people. See you later. Thanks for watching, folks. I hope you enjoyed it. I always like to get your feedback in the form of likes and comments because they help me understand what you want. Give the channel a subscribe and click on the tinkly things so you don't miss out on any new stuff. And thanks for your ongoing support. And please, be safe out there.